Recognize this plane? How about now? This is a replica of the 1930s biplane.
This airplane was built by a company that was the largest aircraft manufacturer in the world at the time, Weaver Aircraft Company. That's what WACO stands for. This particular model was purchased by wealthy sportsman pilots. It sold for $7,000 at the time, which was a fair amount of money.
The plane's architect left the design to the Smithsonian, which means the copyright was within the public domain. In 1986, several investors decided to rebuild the biplanes using the original design's modern materials.
Well, that's the key to the airplane. It's the exact same design but new materials, so there's stronger steels, stronger fabric in the wing covering, synthetic versus cotton, and just everywhere they could improve the material, they did.
Is it safe?
Oh, extremely safe.
This plane was purchased by investors here in Arizona in order to take passengers on sightseeing trips. Larry spends the summer in Jackson, Wyoming, but from November through mid-May, he makes his living taking passengers for an open cockpit tour of Tucson. This is where the pilot sits, right behind the passenger. And if passengers want to, they can wear this Amelia Earhart leather flying helmet.
Take off from the International Airport, fly over Davis-Monthan up to the Catalinas, through the Catalinas, back over downtown and into International Airport. It's very noisy, lots of wind. It's a different feeling because you feel like you're up in the air. You get in an airliner and you're in this little box and there's little windows, you look out and you assume you're in the sky, but you can tell you're in the sky in this airplane.
Planes like this one are a little harder to fly. Larry took lessons from the chief test pilot at a factory in Michigan where this plane was made.
Most modern airplanes have two main landing gear and a nose wheel up in the front. In the old days, all the airplanes had the tail wheel in the back. And it is harder to fly an airplane with a tail wheel in the back. The airplane's squirrely. It wants to do things that you don't want it to do.
Larry believes many investors have a renewed interest in historic designs for a couple of reasons.
The problem is that the big aircraft manufacturers have stopped making single-engine airplanes, and it has to do with insurance problems. So people are finding and renovating older airplanes, partly for historical reasons and partly because it might be a cheaper way to go.
These planes are generally worth about $210,000. Although many of these planes were made, precious little information has been compiled about them.
The airplane was built in Troy, Ohio, and they're trying to put together a historical society there. They're trying to renovate a building, and they will have parts, if not whole airplanes in there, and more of the history to try and collect all the information that's around the country.
There is one historical tidbit about these double-winged birds.
The only thing that's documented that I know of, use of the airplane was in 1936, 10 of them went to China with machine guns mounted on them to fight the Japanese.
Those who don't mind a little wind in their hair might want to consider a propeller ride 5,000 feet over the old Pueblo.
Now, how much altitude can you get in one of these when you've got an open cockpit?
Until you freeze.